Hi Falcons, this is Miss Lee, and I'm starting off the ACT video prep that we're doing to help you guys strengthen your ACT skills. I'm going to be doing a math problem today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get right to it. And before I actually show you the problem I'm going to work on, I want to show you kind of this page because geometry is like 40% of the ACT. And a lot of times it's going to be where you see these pictures. So this problem up here that hopefully we'll get to see later is an area problem. And we're going to actually be working the one down here that's got, again, another picture with it that's also a geometry problem. Now, when you see a right triangle, it could be Pythagorean theorem, which this one happens to be. It might be a trig problem, trigonometry, or it even might be an area problem. And you have to watch out because sometimes they will talk about a square or rectangle and cutting it diagonally. Well, that would make some right triangles. So that might be where the problem, a hidden triangle inside of those figures. And just to remind you of the Pythagorean theorem, most of y'all probably remember it from geometry, but it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And let's just get a corresponding picture to go with that. And C is the hypotenuse. That's what's important, that you can pick out where C is. And it is going to be also the longest side of the triangle. That's also going to be important many times to help you here. And I tell my students to sometimes shade in what makes up the right triangle, kind of darken it in, because that's going to be A and B. Those are my legs of the triangle. And then of course, the other thing, which is also across from the right angle, that's going to be my hypotenuse. A and B can be interchanged, so it really doesn't matter which one you call A and B. This is the guy that's really important, this hypotenuse, making sure that you label it correctly. And then again, the Pythagorean theorem formula is listed above. It is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And it really is seen a lot on these ACT tests. All right, so let's move into this problem. So if I didn't say this already, the Pythagorean theorem is used when you have a right triangle. I said that, but it's when you know two sides of the right triangle and you're looking for the third. And if you notice, that's what this problem says. A ramp for loading trucks is 13 feet long and covers 12 feet. Along level ground is shown below. How many feet is the highest point on the ramp? So this is the part that they're trying to find. So they are giving you two sides and looking for the third. All right, let's do our labeling. So we're going to darken in what makes up the right triangle. That's going to be A and B. Doesn't matter which one you call which. And then of course the other thing is going to be the hypotenuse, which is C. And don't forget it's the longest, because sometimes that's important. Doesn't really help us here because all the answers are less than 13. But I'll show you a problem in a minute where it's very useful. A lot of times we just go ahead and call this X, what we're looking for. So A squared, X squared plus B squared, which is 12, equals C squared, which is 13. And guys, you do have to be careful here because, some people accidentally leave the squares off. And if you solve that, you would end up getting 1, which is one of the answers. Some people accidentally do 12 times 2 and put 24. And 13 times 2, 26. And then if you did the math, you're going to get answer G. So you really have to know what you're doing here. And squaring just means take this number and multiply by itself 2 times. So this would basically be x squared plus 12 times 12. You are allowed a calculator on the ACT. 13 times 13, which is 169. And then, of course, we need to isolate x. So we're going to go ahead and subtract the 144. What we do on one side, we must do on the other. It goes away here. And once we do the math of it, we get x squared is 25. Now, obviously, we're not done yet because that answer doesn't make sense because it needs to be less than 13. And we don't see that answer over here. So we need to keep going. We don't want x squared. We want to know what x is. So we undo that by taking the square root. And the square root of 25, again, you could use a calculator, is just 5. So there's our answer of J. And the Pythagorean theorem, the big thing about it is, depending on what they give you for information, it could work one way or the other, in our case with a little subtraction, but I'll show you a different problem I found on another ACT practice test. Again, if you notice, another right triangle, and I already just went and labeled A, B, and C and marked the right angle and did the work of it, so we wouldn't take a lot of time with this one. But I did want you to notice two very important things. This one, they gave you numbers for the legs, not the hypotenuse, and that's why we ended up with all addition here. And another really important thing I want you to notice is we already talked about how the hypotenuse is the longest side. So I know my answer has to be bigger than 24. And if you look over here at the answers, K is the only one bigger than 24. So this is a time when you could use a little less time on this problem to give you some more, a minute per problem is what you get. And noticing the thing about the hypotenuse being the longest would save you some time here that maybe you could use later. Okay, hopefully that reminded you of the very important Pythagorean theorem and how it works. And I hope to see you soon.